In this opportunity, I want to give some information about ELF, or English as a lingua franca. What is a ELF, or English as a lingua franca? English as a lingua franca is the use of the English language as a common means of communication for speakers of different first language. ELF is also defined functionally by its use in intercultural communication rather than formally by its reference to native speakers' norms. Whereas English as a foreign language aims at meeting native speaker norms and gives prominence to native speaker cultural aspects. While lingua francas have been used for centuries, what makes ELF a novel phenomenon is the extent to which it is used both functionally and geographically. A typical ELF conversation might involve an Italian and a Swede chatting at a coffee break of an international conference held in Brussels, or a Spanish tourist asking a local for the way in Berlin. And for the information, lingua franca is from or Frankish language as used as means of communication between populations speaking vernaculars that are not mutually intelligible. The term was first used during the Middle Ages to describe a French and Italian-based jargon or pidgin that was developed by crusaders and traders in the Eastern Mediterranean and characterized by the invariant forms of its nouns, verbs, and adjectives. These changes have been interpreted as simplifications of the Romance language because they bring together very diverse group of people. Many empires and major trade interpots have had lingua francas. If pidgins have sometimes been defined less informatively as a lingua francas, it is because they evolved from varieties that had served as trade language. Aramaic played this role in Southwest Asia from as early as the 7th century BC to approximately and at 650. Classical Latin was the dominant lingua franca of European scholars until the 18th century, while a less prestigious variety of Latin served as that of the Hanseatic language, 13th until 15th centuries, especially in its bookkeeping. During the era of European exploration in the 15th until 18th centuries, Portuguese served as a diplomatic and trade language in coastal Africa and in Asian coastal areas from the Indian Ocean to Japan. In Southeast Asia, meanwhile, Malay was already serving as an important lingua franca. It had been adopted by Arab and Chinese traders in the region well before the Europeans arrived. Later, both the Dutch and the British used Malay for communication with the peoples resident in the region. Modern lingua francas may or may not be officially designed as such. The United Nations employs 6 official languages, like Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. International air traffic control uses English as a common language, and some multilingual Asian and African countries have an official lingua francas that facilitates interactive or interregional communication. Such language may be its wild pigeons, as with lingala in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Nigerian and Cameroon pigeons, or Hirimotu and Tok pigeon in Papua New Guinea. They may also be non-pigeons varieties such as Soweli in East Africa or Hausa in West Africa. And the last is, how does lingua franca work? A lingua franca is a third language used by people to communicate when they can't speak each other's mother tongue. For example, my mother tongue is Welsh, but since Tunisians don't speak any Welsh, and I speak very little Arabic, and I speak French when I'm in Tunisia because I know that most Tunisians speak French as a second language. In this case, French is our lingua franca. The original language called lingua franca was a hybrid of Mediterranean language based on simplified Italian used by traders in the 17th century. Okay, I think that's all from me. I'm sorry about my any mistake. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.